What's good, party people? What's good? We have a warm day, so I'm out here in the garden, just doing a little surveying. Man, look, let me run through some things real quick. So, if you're ever in a debate, one of the things that your opponent would do is something called gish gobble. And what gish gobble is, you throw out so much information or so much misinformation that your opponent can't figure out where to start to debunk what you're saying. That's what Donald Trump did when he debated Joe Biden. And that's when folks were like, oh man, Joe Biden is not up to the task. Never even talked about the fact that this man was just throwing out so many lies it was almost impossible to respond to it. But then when Vice President Harris debated him, she knew exactly how to deal with that strategy. What we're watching right now is gish gobble. That was the debate side of the house. But now we're watching gish gobble. That this man's back in the White House, and what he's done is threw out so many executive orders that people don't know where to respond. Case in point, we were told that DEI was something that he was going to get rid of. So he sent out executive orders, and these executive orders impacted all of the federal government. They're not laws, they're policies that change things. And those policies change things like DEI. Those policies change things like if you're in the military, who can serve in combat roles. Those policies change things like VA turning around and all of a sudden saying, hey, we're going to look at how you deal with things now that you're getting medication, or if you had your legs blown off, if you got prosthetics and now you can walk, maybe we need to start reevaluating. And these executive orders, which don't have the same impact as laws, cause problems. Case in point, when he wanted to do the tariff thing. And then when the Supreme Court was like, yeah, son, you're moving too far. The Constitution is clear. Congress does tariffs, not the president. But see, the damage was already done. This is that gish gobble. He throws so much stuff out that the damage was already done. You know, his friends have already made the money that they're going to make. And then they're going to make money on the back end of it as the stock market does what the stock market does. Same thing with crypto. His crypto has lost 91%, and the lady that dances on poles, her crypto has lost 98%. But they made their money on the front end, and that's what they do. And it's just trying to get folks to understand they're going to throw so much at us that it's almost impossible to figure out what you should be paying attention to. You know, we got Jared Kushner over in Geneva supposedly trying to negotiate what Iran can and can't do. Jared Kushner, what is his qualifications for doing that? This is the same guy who's supposedly, negotiating what's going to happen in Gaza and what's not going to happen in Gaza. Meanwhile, we got a whole Secretary of State that's just been sidelined. But this is that gish gobble. Throw so much at you that you can't even deal with it. That is the beauty of what they've done with the Epstein files. Through so much that people can't figure out what's true, what's not. Was Oprah on the island 11 times? Oprah's jet can't even land on that island. That's why this isn't making any sense. They will throw stuff out here so much that you can't figure out what to look at. And then they'll do stuff like, oh yeah, we have the largest military buildup since 2003 in the Gulf. And folks are like, oh man, it looks like this is imminent. Any day now, we're going to destroy shipping being able to traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. That's going to be crazy. But then before you can even start focusing on that, the next thing we got a speedboat interdicting or invading the sovereign waters of Cuba. And Cuba is turning into absolutely nothing but the United States version of Gaza. And this is gish gobble. This is throwing so much at you that you don't know how to respond to any of it. And I'll say all of this to say this. It's the Epstein files. That's the long pole in the tent. That's everything. That's the whole ball game. And they will say and do anything they can to get you to not focus on the Epstein files. Focus on the Epstein files. Everything hinges on that. Everything. You don't get rid of a whole prince. You don't have former heads of state trying to commit suicide. You don't have, former presidents of Ivy League universities. You do not have people who are well placed in the entertainment industry or CBS walking away. You don't have, somebody by the name of Gates walking away from a marriage if the Epstein files aren't that critical. Stay focused. It's the files.